In round one of the World 10-pin Masters, Zara Glover of England lost to defending champ Chris Barnes. Oscar Palama of Finland upset Guy Kaminski. Aussie Jason Belmonte stunned 2005 champ Jens Nickel. Darren Cundy was KO'd by Saudi Arabian teenager Bada Al Sheikh. Alex Liu blew away Canada's Michael Schmidt. But Paul Moore swamped Rivera of the Philippines. Confirmation that 6 of the 8 first-round matches are complete. Coming up in a moment, Remy Ong of Singapore and the near-legendary Tori Torgersen of Norway. He's competed in every single World Masters. That means 9 years and 3 wins for the popular Norwegian known as TT.
I'm Tori Torgersen, 38 years old, from Norway, living in Sweden.
I'm Remy from Singapore, and I'm playing Tori Torgersen from Norway today.
He's a good bowler. He's a lefty, and it's never a good thing losing to lefties or girls, so it's, I gotta try to take him down.
Well, he's good. He has always been there, a well-known bowler, and I think it's going to be a good match.
Like in a match like this, I would say it's 50-50. The one of us to get the good breaks and get the strikes running. It's going to win.
2 games, it's anybody's game, you know, and just go out there and give it my best shot.
Your MC is John McDonnell.
Thank you indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the Metrodome here in Barnsley. It's the PartyPoker.net World 10-Pin Masters, brought to you by Matchroom Sport. 16 of the very best players in the world have assembled on this single lane to lift the coveted title and the $30,000 in prize money. Well, it's time now to meet the players. Firstly, would you please welcome, all the way from Singapore, and he's the former 2-time champion of the world. It's Remy Ong!
Ong is still only 28 and won those world titles last year. He won 3 gold medals at the 2002 Asian Games and topped the Asian rankings last year. A left-hander, he also loves to fish and to play golf.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the 3-time World 10-Pin Master from Norway, Tora Torgersen!
Tori is the world master, but he's also won the World Cup, the World Championship all event, and averages 220 over the past year. Now 38 years of age, he owns a pro shop back in Norway. I'm now to join your commentary team, and player Jason Belmonte is alongside Simon Golding.
Well, some matches are tough to call, and some are even tougher. Remy Ong, this talented left-hander from Singapore, up against the man that we used to say owned the lane. Remy Ong from Singapore, the word superstar is definitely appropriate for this man. Asia's #1 bowler, and he's got a pretty good World 10-Pin Masters record also. Got a little bit phased in 2005, but no problems in 2003. Really put the hammer down on some of the big names, and he plays at his own pace. He's got his own style, and he'll just stick to that throughout the game, and it's up to his opponents to try and stay with him if they can, and to try and cope with the way that Ong bowls. And we're not going to see him rushing around, are we, Cass?
Certainly not. No, Remy's going to take his time. He doesn't rush for anybody. Just going back to that 2005 World 10-Pin Masters, went out in the semi-finals after a very high-scoring all left-handed match against their own Paul Moore.
It was a cracking game, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yes. Very, very high-scoring. Great for television, and there's no reason why this match won't be the same.
But Tore Torgersen, double T as he's known, three-time winner of this event, 98, 2002 and 2004. Managed to get runner-up in 2000 and 2001, and that's why we say he just about owns this lane. His favourite bowler, Tim Mack from the USA, great friend. Tim Mack, of course, used to bowl on this World 10-pin Masters event, and we may see his return at some time in the future. Had successful shoulder surgery, and he speaks very highly of Torgersen, just says it's the man you do not want to meet on this lane. And I guess that still applies to a certain extent.
Also a long-term member of the European Weber Cup team. So Tore certainly knows his way around Barnsley and knows his way around this lane.
So he and Thomas Lee Anderson between them, the backbone of the European Challenge in the last few years. Bernie White, our tournament official, just waiting to get things underway. He's just enjoyed the game so much at this tournament so far. Says it's an absolute delight to be here.
Wish you good luck, good bowling. Remy to bowl first.
Well, always wishes the competitors good luck. But let's face it, with the quality of field that we've got here, it's not really about luck with these guys. They've got it all worked out in their heads. They've practiced time and time again on this lane over the preceding days ahead of this tournament. And Remy Ong and Tore Torgersen about to do battle with each other and with the lane. Over 2 games, and it's the best aggregate score at the end of those 2 games that will go through. And I've got a funny feeling we're going to see some big numbers in this one. Remy Ong then to open his account in this first round match. Took it out nice and wide on the lane, just asked it to sit, and that's exactly what it did.
Yes, set up very nicely there for the 1-2 pocket hit for the left-hander. See the enormous high backswing of Remy Ong. Opens up with 378 revs per minute on that ball. He's just warming up. Tore won't be fazed by that. You know exactly the sort of numbers that Tore can put together. But that 4-10 split won't help him. A light hooking ball into the right-hand side of the headpin just didn't break them up at all. Just down second arrow, and the ball's faded a little bit wide on the right-hand side and didn't break anything up at all. So this is more than likely going to be an open frame, which is pretty unfortunate in frame number 1 for the striking of Viking.
Well, he's a Viking, but there's not much striking about that opening salvo from Tore Torgersen. I don't know if you heard on our microphones down by the lane the reaction from the crowd, a sharp intake of breath, because they know that even at this stage that's put Torgersen under some considerable pressure against Remy Ong, an incredibly dangerous opponent. Ong then working a strike.
And you can bet your life he's going to try and turn the screw here on Tore and just double up straight away. 2-time current world champion. Knows exactly what he has to do.
And he does it.
We need to say a little more, did we, Simon?
That is scary. So already he's putting Tore Torgersen under some considerable pressure. Look at that. I mean, that head, his head just did not move.
Absolutely still, and those eyes focused, really burning into the lane. Great camera shot there, showing the ball and the angle of the pins falling over. Looks totally relaxed, doesn't he?
He does. Torgersen has to respond. Can't. 9-pin left. That usually means a bit light into the pocket.
Didn't quite get the deflection as the ball went into the pocket. The ball should have bounced off that 5-pin, taken that 9 away. Cut straight through and left it standing solidly. So what he was thinking was a good shot turned out to be just a 9, and hopefully just a spare, which it is.
Open frame spare from Torgersen so far. Not really what the doctor ordered. Just one of the coolest men that you will meet on the 10-pin bowling world circuit. He is so laid back, nothing seems to bother him. But when he does get out and he plays and he gets down against an opponent, that's when you'll see some emotion, that's when you'll see some reaction. Ong then still on for the maximum. The double maximum 600. Well, we've seen a single. Don't want to start talking about it too early, but third frame for Ong, working 2 strikes.
I don't think he's going to ease up. If he's locked into that 1-2 pocket, he's going to try and stay there. You can bet your life on it. That was pretty devastating, isn't it? 3 identical strikes. Maximum score so far, 30 in frame number 1.
A distinctive release of his, and look at that, the revs, he's taken him up by, well, around about 100. So that just shows you he's confident with his line, and he's confident with the ball reaction that he's getting, and he's just going to put that little bit extra on it. Bit of insurance when he hits the pocket. Torgerson must start striking, and there it is. The Vikings back.
A distinctive change of line there for Torre. Moved very much more to the right-hand side of the lane. Tried to open it up, play around the drier area, come up around the break point, and flush the pocket. Very good-looking shot. Nice change.
Ong, though, still in control despite that strike from Torgerson.
Well, Remy obviously saw how Paul Moore was playing on the left-hand side of the lane and thinks, well, obviously, if Paul Moore can get as locked in as that, there's no reason why on earth I can't. Maybe he'll go all the way this time.
Well, both guys are up in the 400s for their rev rate in terms of their averages over these first 3 frames. So they're both attacking, they're both being very aggressive at the foul line. That's great bowling. 4-bagger from Ong. He's got a fascinating style. You get the twist of the ball right at the top of the swing. That must put some considerable pressure on the shoulder. And then that very tight release and a pretty straight line.
Yeah, just down in between second and third arrow, so it's playing 12 to 15 board. Just turns up at the end. It actually looks looked a bit wider than that shot. I thought he came out of it just a little bit late, but he got the reaction.
Oh dear.
And that is so unlucky because Torres actually made the adjustment. He's moved to the outside of the lane with his third frame shot and struck. He's played exactly the same sort of line again.
I mean, he's on the opposite side of the lane to where he started, because he started far left, didn't he? And he was throwing it right out to bring it back in.
Yeah. Very much looking for a strike there. Speeded the ball up and unfortunately left that 9-pin there standing quite defiantly. It would have been a double, but unfortunately not. Falls further behind.
Ong still on for the maximum 300. Torgerson, the best he can hope for from here with strikes all the way would be 248. That's just on this first game. His overall maximum to the far right from 2 games, 548. So that is descending all the time, and he cannot afford spares against this man.
They've played tournaments worldwide, but none of that counts now. If they miss the pins, they'll be out. Let's see who makes it through to the quarterfinals after the break.
And Remy is really in a comfort zone. So there's going to be no rushing him. This is going to be Remy's game. He's going to play at his own pace and make sure he gets ahead. He's over 50 pins ahead already. Can he bury another one? Yes, he can.
Certainly can. That beautiful sideways movement of all the pins as they just collapse down for him. Michael Schmidt and Father Rick watching on. The Canadian, unfortunately for him, out of this year's tournament.
Pretty emotionless, Remy Ong, but 5 strikes in a row is good enough for anybody. And Torre will just hope that he can hang around for a little while.
Look at that drastic change in the position of delivery. Well, typical Torgerson, he's going to try and find a way. He's getting a dose of his own medicine at the moment from Ong, but he's got some fight in him still.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. That could have so easily been 3 strikes in a row. He's upped his speed, upped his rev rate, and he's hit the pocket 3 times in a row, and unfortunately only made 2 strikes and no doubles. So as yet, he's not advancing. He's not catching Remy in any way whatsoever. And with 5 frames gone, it's half a game, so we're a quarter way through the whole match. And he needs some sort of reaction now. He's really starting hitting some big numbers.
He's looking a bit dejected, is Torgerson. So on. Once again, that focus.
Looking for the six-pack.
Oh, he's got it.
Dear, oh dear.
Well, are you going to say it on me, Cass?
No, let's not go there just yet.
We won't mention what is potentially on at the moment for Rémillon. Yeah, he's controlling his revs, isn't he? He's keeping it around about that 400 mark.
Yeah, stats tell us that the last 3 strikes were absolutely identical. Speed, rotation, flush in the 1-2 pocket. Looking really, really strong.
Well, Torgerson's rushing on. He's getting his deliveries away. Little punch of the air to let Rémillon know that he's still around. Not been a tremendous amount of interaction between these two.
Well, it's like a bear pit, isn't it? No, not even any eye contact.
I'll tell you what, Torgerson hasn't done much wrong in this game so far. He's just not quite had the luck. 3 strikes, 2 spares and an open frame. I mean, he cannot afford another open full stop, but he really can't afford spares with Ong in this terrifying form.
Well, no, he's moved right up to the right-hand side of the lane, so let's hope we'll get some consistency out of it. It's just whether he's going to hit the pocket and carry.
Ong looking for 7 strikes. No, that's the first weak pocket hit that he's had. And the crowd responding to what has been a terrific opening salvo.
Yeah, red votes up again. It's just a fraction light in the pocket. Couldn't quite hit them thin enough. Made them spin. Hello, he's got his football bowling ball out there.
There's a spare ball for you. That's a cracker.
Absolutely. Rock hard, solid, plastic ball. Should go pretty straight. And does. Takes the spare away. Placing 278 this game. And there's no reason why he's not going to get back on strikes again.
But at least Torgerson has the satisfaction of knowing that his opponent isn't a machine. He can miss.
He's also got the other satisfaction that he's found an outside line which will strike for him. Let's just hope he can stay out there consistently. Get that ball to come up to the pocket. It seems to be going round the outside of the pattern of the oil. Coming up in the last 20 feet. There it is again. And it's holding all the way. That really is a good shot.
He certainly has found it.
Yeah, very much showing his professional expertise there. Sorted that line out. We haven't seen many right-handed players playing that far out on the lane. Angling into the 1-2, the 1-3 pocket and getting the reaction he wants. Still pretty emotionless though. But that could have been so easily 5 or 6 strikes in a row.
That's how it stands. Maximum's getting closer, just 30 pins in it if they strike out from here. And you wouldn't bet against it either, with the way these two have been bowling so far.
Yeah, they both appear to have brought their A game to this lane. It's reacting well for both of them, left and right hand side.
7 pin this time. So the adjustment that Ong felt he had to make was made, and it left the 7. We saw Paul Moore have to deal with a couple of spares, so we know that it's tough out on the left-hand side.
Well, this will be the first spare that Remy's had to throw at. He's sorry, the second spare, but the first corner pin over here. Sail it across from the right-hand side of the lane, and that might drop in the gutter. And it just held on, didn't it? Crikey, I thought that was away. Alex Liu looking on with a little bit of concern, but probably quite happy how his colleague's getting on.
It was nearly out for a throw-in, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Ong then will be very satisfied with his work so far. No open frames. And that magnificent 6 strikes to get things underway in this first game. That's why Torgerson's under so much pressure. That's why he has to keep striking. Here he comes again. Oh no, heavy through the head pin.
Certainly was, yeah. Missed his line there, got off track, and was fortunate just to break the pins up there and just leave a single pin standing. A straightforward spare for him, but yeah, he's just inside his mark. Inside first arrow there. Previously was outside. High through the head pin. 4 pin stands there solid. Takes the spare away after 3 strikes in a row, but it's not really what he needed.
Jens Nico and girlfriend Britta in the crowd. Jens unfortunately exiting in the first round, but all of the players will stay on for the entirety of this tournament, and they just love to be here, love to be part of the atmosphere. And as most of them will tell you, they are always learning.
Oh, absolutely. These top players like to watch one another play and see the little angles that they, little differences that they can find out from other players. 40 pins the difference just at this particular time. Going into frame number 9, the foundation frame. Remy Ong looking for another 10. Hoping to extend that lead.
No, 7 again.
Well, he's very much in the pocket, just couldn't kick those 2 7-pins out, so he'll have to be happy for that, but it should be a straightforward spare. Goes through the 200 barrier with ease.
Big chance for Torgerson at this level. This is a pretty straightforward spare. Falls away from that shot, but makes it easily.
Yeah, puts a lot of momentum into it. Falls off the shot at the end, but it was straight enough. Comes away shaking his head. Just wonders why those 2 7-pins stood up. Simply because the 4-pin didn't jump out the flat gutter and give it a little nudge.
He can't buy a strike now after those 6 openers. And it's all down to so many subtle changes that occur. Changes in the bowler's action, changes in the lane. All has to be coped with. Wow, Torgerson. You're right, Cass, he's found a line that's working for him, and he's going to try and exploit this until it changes.
Absolutely, yes. It's pretty consistent now. As long as he can get wide enough and hit his mark consistently, that ball looks as though it's going to strike, doesn't it?
It's all very close again.
Well, Torre hasn't missed the pocket since frame 2, and unfortunately he's only hit 5 strikes with a couple of spares in between, and that's the sort of thing that keeps the scores low.
All right, Remy will feel now that this is desperately important to make sure that he strikes out from here.
Yeah, 256 is on the cards. Torre can only go 227. Very important ball. First ball in the 10th frame. Both working on spares.
Very good shot from Ong. That's back to the confidence we saw in the first 6 frames.
Huge high back swing. Great rotation around the off the wrist, and that ball just rips the rack. Looking very, very smooth. Earns himself 2 bonus balls, or 2 extra balls in the 10th frame. Certainly looking to extend his lead. And could possibly be almost 30 pins up as we go into game 2.
Yeah, he likes it. Well, that's 8 strikes, isn't it, for this first game for Ong?
Yeah, the damaging thing is he's only actually been out the pocket once in the whole game. Again, he's up to his rev rate to over 400. Manages to carry all pins yet again. He's back on his strike line.
Bonus ball then to make it 2-5-6. That would really give him some lead to work with. Good work from Remy Ong. Saw his chance at the end of that first game and took it well. And the crowd acknowledging another 3 strikes in a row from Ong. 2-5-6 overall, and then if he can get through with strikes all the way through to the finish, 5-5-6 is the maximum still available to Ong. It's been another classy display of bowling, and there are some good names posting some very good numbers at this tournament. Now 2-2-7 available for Torgerson.
Yes, needs to hit 3 strikes. So he's been in the pocket pretty consistently. Very much upped his speed on that shot as well. But made the pocket and carried all 10, so that's another double. He's certainly not giving up the ghost. He's what he would say is going down fighting. He's just pulling some pins back here, trying to keep himself in the race.
Well, it's definitely game on, isn't it, if he can deliver the goods with these next 2 balls?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Just be 29 pins adrift. And that can so easily turn around one open frame. And that gap could close up. If you look back to Torgels's first frame when he had that 8 split, well, that was probably the difference between these 2 bowlers in this game.